10 brutal truths about being an entrepreneur. So again, my name's Tristan Dlabik. I'm in the life insurance space. I've been here for 8 years, going on 8 years. I've done very well, very, very well. And I've helped a lot of other individuals do very well also. And I'm looking to just educate you and help you learn what I wish I would have known when I got into the space at 18 years old, because it would have saved me a lot of time and I would have made way more money and I would have helped a lot more people. And that's what matters. I don't have a course or consulting to sell you, and I'll just give you my call to action now. I would like to find high quality people in the insurance space and annuities as well to do some type of partnership. And if you are looking for life insurance or annuities, you're able to reach out to me or anybody in my firm. So everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until they find out what it actually takes. So here are 10 truths nobody wants to tell you, but you need to know if you're going to win. So the first one, it's not as easy as you think, but it's not as hard as you think. I always tell people this because I'll share this story with you. I was 3.5 years into the insurance space when I became like the highest title in a structured company that limits you to one product. You have no ownership and you're very limited, right? And then I would go on to spend another 3.5 years there with a 1099 making, 7 figures plus a year, living on the couch, out of the office, working 24/7 and just churning and burning cash, agents. There was really just nothing to show for it. Good lessons on what not to do. And eventually you wake up and you realize, it was always in the back of my mind, why don't I just start my own business? I was reading so much Patrick Bet-David. I was, I had met him once or twice while being in this limited structure that he was also in. And it's so ironic because so many insurance people that are in the same model will share his content, and it's what he left to start his own deal. And it was fear that held me back. I look back, it was fear that held me back because I was overestimating how much it would cost. Money, time, and I think my ego. So a combination of fear and ego, which more than likely they just go hand in hand with one another. And I didn't want to give up this identity that I built up. My whole life I built up this superstar identity, the youngest ever to do this, the youngest ever to do that. And I was so sold on, I won't be able to restart. I won't be able to figure it out. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? It was hard to transition into, being your own entrepreneur. But at the same time, it was overestimated of it didn't cost as much money as I thought it was going to cost. It didn't take as much time as I thought it was going to take. And still very, very difficult. And I think only 1% of people, are capable of going through that. But I think everyone, 100% of people should educate themselves on, if you have dreams and goals and, you want more freedom and flexibility when it comes to the entrepreneurial world, don't overestimate, how much it's going to cost you. Because the greatest cost is you doing nothing, ending up on your deathbed and wondering to yourself, or sitting there with your children and wondering to yourself, what could you have been? What example could you have been to your sons, to your daughters, of your father played his life or your mother played her life very comfortable, very calculated, never really did anything. And so now that's the example you've set for your children. That's the movie, the story you've written for your children. So it's very compelling to me and for me when it comes to making difficult decisions, as long as there is some calculation there now, obviously far more than before, but it's like you would almost be dumb not to do it, right? Not to analyze and assess what's all the information, what could I potentially be and what could I potentially have. And life is cool. I think people take it too serious. Or like, if I do this, it's the end of my life. No, it's not. You know what I mean? So what? Maybe you have a financial setback. Maybe you have a material setback. Maybe you need to reduce your living expenses. But like, what prevents people from really doing anything great in their life is they're not willing to take that setback to do something on their own, or where there's more freedom, flexibility, and ownership for you to have this launch forward. And so what? It's going to cost you 5, 10, 15 years of your life. You were going to spend your whole life living in the shadows, living in a herd mentality of, well, I got to do what all my friends are doing. And they all have this job, and they all have this sales job, and they all have that. And the risk is diverted to the guy at the top, but we're comfortable. So that's something for you to figure out for yourself. But I always tell people, like, imagine you're on your deathbed. Is it really going to matter? And so if eventually it won't matter, it shouldn't be as relevant now in regard to your fear of making that decision. You should analyze the logic behind it. What is the logical potential outcome? And then having some faith attached to that as well. Combining the two is where you find very successful individuals of like, so what? They can never take your wisdom, your knowledge, all the lessons and things you've accumulated so far into your life. So start building, start taking risks, start taking chances. You're setting examples and writing stories for your children you're going to have to share with them. Was dad a quitter? Was mom, not a believer in herself? Where was your self-confidence? And so the second thing is cash is oxygen. Spending too fast kills most businesses. Flashy founders, they die broke, and smart founders, they stack cash. The third thing is if you wouldn't do it for 10 years, don't do it for 10 minutes. So real players, they think in decades, not in minutes. You know what I mean? So you have to think to yourself, minimize your dopamine thinking and maximize your discipline thinking. Where would I be 10 years from now if I do the right things with the right people? And again, just looking at the logical data, like what does X, Y, and Z say if I do this? Very, very simple. Number 4, the people that matter more than the product are the ones you want to work with. And I always tell people matter more than the product. So a great team can save a bad idea. A bad team can kill a great one. The business itself it's not a living object. You're not selling anything that is alive. You're selling an intangible, or not an intangible, inanimate object. It's not alive. It doesn't have a soul. You've got spreadsheets, numbers, papers, a product, this chair I'm sitting on, this microphone. That's not what made the business great. It's the people behind the business that got this microphone in this room, this camera in this room, this podcast studio that I'm sitting in, the businesses I built. It's not me alone. It's great people. And the cost of great people is literally immeasurable. If you were going to build a new shortcut on first one, becoming a great person, developing yourself, being honest, having values, developing a legitimate skill set, not just some routine skill set, where you can bring value to the marketplace so you can attract other high-level and high-quality people, it's worth its weight in gold. You cannot put a price on it. And so you get what you pay for. When you start to build around lower quality people and you start to wonder why your business takes hundreds and thousands of people and another person's business only takes a handful of people to generate the same amount of results, it's the quality of the people. And it starts with you. Everything rises and falls, as Maxwell would say. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on your personal standards that you're setting for yourself. And if you don't increase, though, you're going to destroy your life. Number 5, if your product sucks, stop being delusional. So the market doesn't care about your feelings. If you have a crappy product, if you're in a crappy business model, it does not care. You can only get so rich. It is a limited model, then it's going to be limited in a limited product. Number 6, the money is in the leads. No leads, no sales, no business, period. That's very simple. Lead flow is cash flow. Number 7, follow up and service keep you rich. So one sale gets you paid, systems keep you wealthy. I have made so much money in following up with people. I can't explain to you how much money I've made in just reaching out a couple times a month. Maybe I got to reach out a couple times a year, where I'm checking on you once a month. How's everything going? And genuinely, like, if I don't want to do business with somebody, if I could see myself taking somebody's money and it being a potential chargeback or costing me 10 times mentally than what I would be receiving in the form of profit, I don't take that person's money. Actually, rule number 8 is save your money. So not every dollar needs to be spent. Number 9, don't be loud. Flash attracts flies. Quiet builds empires. Number 10, ask how it can fail, then build the moat. Amateurs dream of winning. Pros prepare not to lose. So these are the 10 rules of entrepreneurship I wish I would have known at 21 years old. And these have all helped me greatly, even up to this point now, to do great things. So I hope this helped you. My name's Tristan Dlabik. I've been in the insurance space for going on 8 years, and I've done very well. I've helped people do very well. I really don't have anything to sell you when it comes to a course or consulting. But what I do have available is potential partnerships with high quality people in the insurance space. You have to be licensed. You have to have results. I would love to find someone that's really good at annuities to do a partnership with. And in addition to that, obviously people looking for life insurance annuities can always reach out to me or any of my team as well. So